as we're bringing up Thomas Rossman, I did want to, first of all, say, and I hope Tom has already joined us.
Yeah, I'm here, Beverly.
Oh, terrific. Thank you, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Tom was gracious enough to address a topic that had actually come in from both of our most recent roundtables. And that was a few of you asking what companies are doing to keep attracting future talent and how are intern programs or intern and leadership programs being handled today. So, Tom, you've kind of shared an interesting experience of time over time with me as far as the intern programs with Fidelity. So I thought I'd let you walk everyone through that journey and combine it with the culture of the company.
Yeah, so happy to do that. And hello, everyone. Tom Rossman from Fidelity Investments. So yeah, I'll kind of talk you through our journey on this topic, and it's still an ongoing journey. So to kind of set the stage, we have really two different flavors of interns at Fidelity. There is a large group that works out of our headquarters in Boston, and those are generally Ivy League students working in very specialized investment roles. And then the second group of interns is dispersed across our 13 regional offices. So these are may have an internship in technology or operations or corporate functions, really, you name it, across the board. And I'll mention another group as well, to your point about college and leadership. We have a group of college grads that are technologists. So these are permanent hires, and they come to North Carolina, pre-COVID, they came to North Carolina for a training and development program for a few months. It's a twice-a-year program, and different associates in each of those twice-a-year instances. That's called our LEAP program. So, but they have very similar needs to an intern in that they're recent college grads or around the same age and having needs for a temporary period. So our past and really our current approach for interns and those going to our headquarters in the investment roles in Boston, they get cash. And then the remaining interns really don't get anything at this point, the ones going to the 13 regional sites. But a couple of years ago, we were asked to take over the cash payment, the lump sum payment, to those going to Boston, as my relocation team really had the appropriate controls in place to ensure tax compliance over that money. Especially because a lot of it was being paid prior to the employment start for those interns, so that they'd have the cash flow to get their apartment before they started work in their internship. And then for the LEAP program, so that's the undergrad technology hires, historically they received a standard temporary housing offering with 2 associates per 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And my technology business partners managed that, but subsequently they asked us to manage lump sums for this group. So their rationale for moving to lump sums was that there were some roommate issues that were flowing into the workplace, and associates felt maybe they could do better on their own, kind of figuring their housing needs on their own. And honestly, I'm not sure, or to be frank, I was not in agreement with their rationale and kind of their move to this model, but the ship had already sailed, and as a good business partner, I needed to help them out. So sure enough, as they experienced that transition in that program and just looking at the other interns who received cash, there are certainly pros and cons. So yes, it provides flexibility. However, it is a lot for them to coordinate for a temporary period, and especially given that this may be the first time they've ever rented an apartment on their own. So we had some challenges with that. We definitely have a resourceful group of folks that we hire, but we got feedback that some had a hard time finding quality housing for a short period at a reasonable cost. Some moved between places several times during their internship. And this just caused them a lot of stress. Now, to be fair, though, there are others that just appreciated the cash. Maybe they had a family member already at that location and they just pocketed the cash, for example. But in terms of the future, right now we're looking into switching to more of a managed housing offering. So I think this is kind of very similar to what I just heard Neil say about kind of swinging the pendulum more away from cash and more towards managed benefits. So for the group in Boston, we'll likely be able to leverage dorms from a local college. And if you haven't seen dorms, if you've been out of college like I have for a while and haven't seen dorms, they are not what I remembered. These are not necessarily basic accommodations that they used to be. And for the group in North Carolina, we may very well end up using the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment again. But I think the key gap that we need to fill is providing a little bit more support in terms of roommate matching and addressing their needs while they're here for that temporary period. And I think all of this will likely provide a cost savings, which really isn't the goal, but it's certainly a nice benefit. You always like to be able to provide that. And for the intern population that receives no benefits, really I'm working to do some internal influencing on those business partners that manage that. I think I'll have a much better story once I can say what we've done with those other groups.
Sure. So Tom, just real quick, the culture, as I have known about Fidelity and what you have shared and what I've known from past, is that you truly have a culture of embracing employees, of supporting employees. So the employee experience with the intern you've recognized as being very critical. And I believe, if I've heard correctly, senior management feels very much the same way. And even in today's environment, bringing employees back together is important to you. So the intern experience being more hands-on, more support, knowing that they'll convert to a permanent employee as the goal would be important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're currently, I think 95+% of Fidelity population is working remotely today due to COVID, but our CEO, Abby Johnson, has said we definitely see the value in people being together, and we will be back in the office. It's just a matter of when.
Yes.
But I think, Fidelity is always focused on having an outstanding customer experience, and that trickles down into our employee experience as well. So there's been a huge focus over the past few years, especially in the employee experience. So if the experience for these interns or these recent college grads isn't great from a relo or a perspective, then we're missing the mark there, and that's a problem. Yeah.
Great point. Well, I know that James Wallace had also shared a willingness to talk a little bit about the Red Hat program and how it may differ or be the same. So if we could bring up James Wallace from Red Hat real quick. Hi, James. How are you?
Hey there, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can. Can everybody else hear him okay?
Cool, seeing the head nods, I think we're good.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on to talk about this a little bit. One of the things I wanted to talk about as part of this, to help kind of frame this discussion, is talk about kind of how we look at this at Red Hat, or how we frame this as a program. And just to clarify, I lead the global mobility team at Red Hat, so I don't manage the function I'm getting ready to talk about or the program, but I do have connections to it, and our team works with the program, so I have some visibility there. At Red Hat, we have, for lack of a better word, we have kind of consolidated or bunched a few different programs under what we call our early talent program. So really, when you think about early talent, I mean, the name, I think, somewhat tells you what this is, right? But it's effectively, associates or employees, we call employees associates, who are early or new in their careers, right? So really this encompasses a few different things, but among the most common are our intern programs, as well as our graduate, right, or early career programs, kind of your I hesitate to use the word entry level roles, but kind of your first roles, right, after coming out of school and entering into the workforce. So we have as a program, right, we have a talent center of excellence, and under that talent center of excellence, they run an early talent program. And so what effectively the program managers did at Red Hat with the early talent program is with the onset of COVID as really a global level pandemic, right? So if I'm roughly thinking in the mid to late March timeframe this year. Obviously COVID was around before that, but at least in the Red Hat perspective, late March is really kind of when it hit us from a global perspective, and we moved at the very end of March to globally work from home, right? All of our offices closed. Literally every single associate employee around the world was put to work from home. Mm-hmm. We're slowly reopening offices in certain locations. We have a return to office framework, but largely, even with that framework, right, we still have a large percentage of our employees around the world that are working from home. So, in conjunction with the move to work from home, we effectively, or I say we, the Talent Center of Excellence, they effectively shifted their early talent programs to also be effectively entirely or largely virtual, right? So for example, right, one of our key programs at Red Hat is our U.S. Summer Intern Program. Mm-hmm. It's roughly late May to late August, so it's a few months, only the summer, and of course it's predominantly your college students who are on their summer break or their summer term, right, out of their normal semester academics. And so this program went completely virtual, and what was really a key part of the success in moving that into an all virtual environment was the fact that there is a program manager dedicated to that program, right? So under the early talent program banner, there's kind of a sub program, right, of your U.S. internships. And there's a program manager who worked with her colleagues and us also in mobility, right? Because we have student visa holders as part of that program, to shift the experience and the support for the program into the all virtual environment. So this included, among other things, a robust manager enablement effort, right? So working with the managers of those interns and the leaders of those interns to not only explain what the virtual experience was going to be for these interns, but then also the key things that those managers needed to do above and beyond kind of the normal intern experience to support and provide that kind of mentorship and leadership during